What is going on, everybody, and welcome back into Barley Studios. Now, today in the studio, we are continuing the Coffee Time art commentary segment here on my YouTube channel. Now, this series is centered around me consolidating all my old TikTok content into nice, fun, bite-sized pieces for us to go through here on my YouTube channel. Not only is it enjoyable for us to spend time in the studio together, but it also gives you a mind's eye of what I was thinking when I go back through some of these old pieces of art content. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the content, guys, and let's get to this art commentary. All right, you guys. So as we start off this video, the first thing you're going to see here is a clip of the Grim Reaper ICU gnome. So that's a gnome that I made. It has a Grim Reaper theme to it. And then, of course, the next TikTok we roll into is like one of those sad, like, I'm having to ship this cup off. That was the Spider-Man breakaway tumbler, the 3D tumbler. Lord have mercy. Yeah, ever so often I'll run across one of those really goofy, really dumb TikToks that I made. It's just trying to like change things up on the channel, just having fun. This is the base for the Grim Reaper gnome. I made that like a kind of like a cave rock base. It has stalagmites coming out from the bottom, both out of clay and out of UV resin. With a stained glass type of feature. I mentioned that in the previous session of the art commentary. But I'm using a syringe here to apply blue and purple like drip to the mossy cave floor. It just gave it a really cool feature, and it kind of added some color to the rock formations. It was really fun to use the little dropper there. I probably didn't need to use that. I probably could have just poured it, but I didn't want to get a lot of that resin or that epoxy on the actual stalagmites. I didn't want it dripping off of those. I really wanted it to just be on the base itself. So it's just really kind of cool. I also try to keep it off of that center circle where the actual tumbler base would sit on. But it was really cool. I like to show resin work like this. And I also, if I recall correctly, there is a full YouTube version of me creating the base for that build. The creation of this was in the midst of me really starting to get into YouTube, and so it was more so of a portrait view, not a landscape view. So it was a little bit different, but I didn't get the actual creation of the Grim Reaper gnome. I got the hat, the creation of the hat, and I think the base of the tumbler done, and it created into a long form content. Maybe if I ever make another one or somebody orders like a different version, then I'll come back and I'll make a full-length YouTube video on that. But you can find this creation for this piece of art on my YouTube channel. I think it may be under clay and maybe resin work. I'm not quite sure where that is anymore. But it is there. If you want to look for it, you can probably find it on my YouTube channel. It was a really cool piece of art, and I still have it out here to this day. And you see it's dripping down into that circle where the tumbler would sit. Now, I do come back later and epoxy that, but I didn't want that color dripping from the outside edges into the center. If I want to put epoxy there, that's my choice. I do that. I don't want the actual artwork to do it for me. It was a really cool project. It was the first gnome that I ever made. Here's that Spider-Man breakaway tumbler again, completely finished out with full epoxy. Beautiful work. It turned out great, and I was sad to see it go. It would have looked good on my shelves. Maybe I'll have to make another one at some point. Here's just a showcase of the Grim Reaper display gnome tumbler base before I fully epoxied everything. I eventually come in and I epoxy the whole thing, and it makes the rocks look really wet and dreary and just like cave-like dampness. This is me hand detail painting the scythe that the Grim Reaper gnome is holding. I made it almost look like it has like a bone top part and then like actual like rusted blade coming down out of that. So like it has like that support piece that comes off, but it looks like an actual piece of bone. So I made it kind of like segmented, like a finger, almost like a finger kind of like coming down. But it was a really cool project, and it really just I like giving them accessories sometimes. It kind of takes away from the ability that they're like drinkable tumblers, and more so it turns them into trophies. So you could drink from it if you want to, I guess. You know, put some liquor in there, chill, and have a good time. But it's more so a trophy. It's something that you would just keep on your shelf, and it has a tumbler base built into it, so you could put stuff in there if you wanted to. Stash some money in there, right? Here's another video of me like actually painting the Grim Reaper gnome hat. So in the previous session, maybe session 5 or so, we had actually saw I was sculpting this. And this is me actually painting this with purples. I actually painted this with the base, which is the gnome itself, because I wanted them to have the same blended paint texture, so that if you're not looking at it closely enough, you can't tell that they're two separated pieces. Because of the way that I sculpted the wrinkles, everything is sculpted wrinkles together, and the paint kind of cascades down onto the lower piece, so it feels like one piece of art and not two pieces of art. But it was a really cool process. Like I said in the previous video, these are where I'm kind of almost going into where I had unlocked 10-minute videos. So some of these videos ran 3, 5, 10 minutes long, and you know, each one's a little bit different. As I progress through my short form content journey, career journey, I guess it's not a career until you start making money, but journey, because I don't make money off of it. I find that the shorter the video, the better. People go to TikTok and Instagram because they want that fast click, they want that fast swipe. They don't want to sit there on Instagram or TikTok and watch a 10-minute video. They don't want to watch a 5-minute video. They don't want to watch a 3-minute video. They want to watch a 20-second video, get a laugh, get a little dopamine hit, and then they want to move on. If you want long form content, YouTube is where it's at, and that's why I've been slowly shifting into more YouTube content. Look how great that looked. The purple turned absolutely great, and I'm going in with some dry brush and give it some of those wrinkles, some highlights there, here and there. And that's before I paint the little rope that goes around the top, or the actual skull bead. Now the skull bead on the very top, I actually painted it so that it matches the ones in his beard. Pretty cool. It was a really cool project, and looking back on some of these videos, it just really man, I'm just so proud of the work that I've done over the last few years. My art has come a long way to where I'm actually creating like larger scale projects now. But of course, you know, as I sell stuff, then that money gets reinvested into the studio for more large scale projects. But I'm into a lot of mediums, right? I'm into everything from mask making to dioramas to epoxy to tumblers to canvas work. I want to get into sublimation soon, whether it's t-shirts or tumblers. So you'll be seeing a lot of that type of stuff popping up on my channel eventually as those monetary funds come in. As you can see, those dry brush details are really starting to pop through there, and you just gotta do everything in its own highlight, its own layers, right? It's about building those layers so that you can get a really great finished look. And if you don't do the early stages, or you skip a stage, or you skip some paint, it looks very flat and very two-dimensional, and you just don't want that. You want it to have a lot of dimension, a lot of depth in those paints. So sometimes you need to build those layers in the correct order, so that way you can really just get the look that you want. Painting that little rope that goes all the way around the actual the hat itself, and I made that kind of like not like a mummy like wrap texture, but like just like a little thin yellow rope, like kind of tanned out with a little bit of Naples yellow. That was probably Naples yellow I was using, and if I recall correctly, that was the first time that I've actually ever used Naples yellow, and it quickly became one of my favorite colors. Instead of using just titanium white, Naples yellow is just more of a natural color, and titanium white you can use it to change the colors, change the opaqueness of a lot of colors, but it just doesn't apply to a lot of real life scenarios. Kind of like how like a lot of artists don't use black, like ivory black or Mars black in a lot of their paintings. Instead, they rely on their browns, because in reality, in the world we live in, black in nature doesn't really exist very much, because you never have the true absence of light unless you're like, I guess, in a cave or something, or like deep in the ocean. Look how great this thing looked. Now this is before the epoxy, but look at that. Phenomenal. I guess this is just another TikTok of just like a slow motion like fanning up. I don't know why I did such a slow motion view of that. Ain't no telling. But look at the detail. Look at the little skull beads, and then of course he's holding a soul that kind of wraps around the back. The worst part about that is I didn't know which one I want to display when I have it on my shelves. Do I want the scythe to be visible, or do I want the little soul to be visible? And it's a hard choice. Got that little glare on his bulbous nose there. It turned out really great. Man, some of these TikToks, looking back, I'm just like, oh, they're a little bit too long. Finally, the end of that TikTok. All right, so we're jumping into some strobe lights here. Let the ooze drip. Now, I still sell these on Etsy if y'all are interested in that, but toxic, radioactive barrels, things like that. None of it is hazardous. It's all just hand-painted details. Just very cool. Here, I guess this is a repost or like a highlight clip of the Grim Reaper gnome base creation. Again, I stated that this is on YouTube, so you could find that if you wanted to. If you want to watch the full-length video. I don't remember how long it is, and it's been a very, very long time since I went back that far in my YouTube history. But it is one of my earlier videos, so do not judge the quality of said video or the audio. Got a little bit better at that type of thing, but just because I wasn't necessarily great at making content back then doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to remove those from my YouTube channel. I'm going to leave those in there, and then that way those that are into YouTube or starting YouTube can also see, hey, look, everybody goes through that journey of creating kind of rough content, and then things just progress over time. I think I saw this TikTok in the previous video as well, but I'll mention it here. This is where I'm kind of putting those little UV resin stalagmites into position so that I can create a little divot for each individual one. Then I'll take these out, I'll bake it because this is Sculpey Original clay, and then I will put these back in with E6000. And then that's where it is. That's why I have that TikTok video. So that's me placing them into position. And then this is what it looks like when it's all finalized and finished with those kind of sticking up out of the ground. Pretty cool, right? Now you can apply those to like anything that you want. And you can even make larger scale ones. Like right now I'm thinking about maybe making like a Harry Potter like golden egg. You know, the one he opens when he's in the bathtub and it screams bloody murder and like wants to bust his eardrums. That type of thing. So I'm thinking about making that, and I might use stained glass type of textures like that in the creation of that in my own artistic style. Here it is, epoxied. Look how phenomenal. Look at the little blue soul. It looks so cool. Man, it looks so shiny and so fresh. It looks amazing. Here is the same tumblers you saw just a moment ago. This is the toxic tumbler and the radioactive probably right after it. But these are epoxied, and of course they do have that glow paints built into them, so they do glow if you do put a lot of lights on them. Ombre. I don't remember what this tumbler is. I don't recall. I'll know when it kind of gets into it, but this obviously is an alcohol swirl. It was so very long ago that I don't remember. It was a customer order because it is a full ombre. Let's kind of see what it turns out to be. It's got a little bit of a kind of a pale peach color, and then we're putting a little bit of gold into it. Now that is it looks like it's a gold glitter mixture because it's very gloopy as we put it on. It's not very stringy, it's very gloopy. And it'll take a little bit for that to distribute. You see, oh, so we got like a peach to a crimson red. Very nice. It's probably a school cup or something like that. This is just me kind of showcasing my shelves. If I recall correctly, this is when it was out in my living room area. This used to be a storage room in this room here, but at that time this was out there in the living quarters, open concept area, and that was just my space. But eventually, as you know, things change, and that we got some cabinets for games and things out there, and my space kind of got pushed into here, and this is a lot better area for me as far as just how much stuff that I have. And maybe one day eventually even this will go out into an outside studio, and then talk about getting professional. That'll be the next level. Everything is a progress, right? Everything is just a journey, and those things take money, and eventually that may happen. We'll see. Grim Reaper, just showcasing it again. A lot of Grim Reapers in this is a variation, and sometimes you'll see as I go through, you'll see like bursts of the same thing throughout like one piece of content, and this is kind of that. All right, so why a glass palette? Why use glass palette? So satisfying. I still have this over here. I do wish that sometimes I kind of go too big with things, like. I just do. I mean, if you're going to order something, why not pay an extra few dollars and get the larger version of what you're wanting? This is a glass palette that you can get off of Amazon. And I'm not affiliated with Amazon, and I don't have like an affiliation code or anything like that. But you can look at these up on your own. Eventually, I'm going to make a video where I'm going to make my own one of these. Like a huge one. A huge one that will go across the whole countertop. Eventually, I'll make that. Maybe I'll do that here soon because I do have it laid out there, but it is going to be enormous, like the whole length of this whole side over here, because I'm going to expand this whole canvas painting area out. We'll get into more of that in a later on video, but just be aware that that may be coming out eventually. So this right here is a breakaway zombie tumbler. The very first one that I ever did, I did not get on camera. And this was the second one that I had created, and it spurred a whole movement. I made quite a few of these for different people, but if I recall, this was kicked off by a great customer named Aaron. Aaron, if you're ever watching this, you know who you are. I made quite a few different variations of different things for him. And the one that I sent him, if I recall correctly, I had removed the lower finger, and I sent the finger, like that removed finger part, to him in the inside the tumbler. I think that I did. I can't remember specifically, but yeah. So like, look how great it looked. It was zombie cups, right? I don't have one up here. I'm gonna make another one, guys. So I'll have one in the background of my YouTube videos. So just be aware that I may make another one like that, and maybe I'll make like some short clips of just techniques and things like that. Beautiful epoxy swirl.
Come on, fishy, come on, fishy, come on, fishy, come on, fishy. Just take the fucking bait.
Take the bait. This right here is a beautiful, absolute beautiful, and one of my best sellers, a fishing lure tumbler. I used to sell an absolute ton of these, and they go through cycles where they'll get bursts of orders. The downside with this is there's so many epoxy tumbler artists out there that those are created extremely cheaply. They're not cheap to create, but people sell them for cheap, so they undercut their price, and then they undercut everybody else. So I'm not knocking them for getting sales. I'm just knocking them for they're not getting their time out of it, right? If you sell something, you need to get your time back in money, in short, or you're just wasting your time and energy. We can make a whole video on that, but maybe I will one day. Another toxic barrel ooze. Now I started doing a 2-part drip on these, so they have 2 different colors of drip, and they glow at different rates. So one's a UV, one's a glow, and then sometimes I'll switch things up with glow powders. Really cool. Yeah, this is one of the first tumblers I ever made, and it was like super intense. I made all of the SVGs myself, and I layered them. It's somewhere. I don't know. If I ever find it, I'll put it up here on the shelves or something, but it's probably in a box somewhere. I never sold it. I never did. Never sold it. It was a fishing lure tumbler I made one that looked like a grasshopper, and then I made one that looked like it's around here somewhere. I'll find it later. But and then a bumblebee. What a fun project. Underwater. Now that I do have a full-length video on as well. That's a hand-painted reef tumbler. It has dolphins and sea turtles on it, and there is a full-length content of that on my YouTube channel, so you can find that and check it out. You can find that under the hand-painted tumblers playlist there on this. Spider-Man making a return again. I swear, I promise Spider-Man will drop off these videos in a little bit, and then you just won't see it anymore. Ever so often I would go back and I reposted some things. I'm doing my best not to include those in these videos as they progress, so you don't have to see the same thing over and over again. But if it's a fresh video, then you'll see that. Great video, great tumbler. Look at those colors, perfection. Here's me actually making that tumbler. I believe this is the same tumbler before I put SVGs or decals on it. This was the Alchemist Collection. Now that's what I call it, Alchemist Collection. Now they are technically alcohol swirls. Now there's a tumbler maker on TikTok. I ain't talked to him in a while. Crazy Hazy Cups, and he makes these alcohol swirls. Now he claims that he started the rave revolution of them. Cool. If you did, I'm cool with that, man. Because I did not start it. Definitely didn't start it. But I do enjoy making them. So props to Crazy Hazy for the work that he did to make these just renowned cups. There are people on TikTok who literally just sit around all night and all day, and all they do is make live cups, and they make a killing, guys. But if you're looking to get into it, then he makes great art and great cups too. Crazy Hazy Cups. There's that zombie cup again making a return there. I'm just trying to get people to go from TikTok over to YouTube, man. It's the toughest thing in the world to do, to get people to go across platforms. I really want to get my YouTube to where I can get, if I can get my YouTube to where my TikTok is, as far as the following over there, then I'll be truly happy, and I'll finally be able to get monetized and start really kicking out some amazing projects. But until then, I'm just kind of cruising, right? Just cruising along, making content here and there, trying to improve it every day that I can. Detail hand painting is now the videos. This content video is not the best quality. One, I had an older phone back then. If it's just an older phone, like with one lens, and it wasn't great. It couldn't record even not 1080, but just like 4K. I believe definitely not 4K. But what happened was, when it was look at the blood. It looks amazing. I even tried to incorporate cartilage. When you also download and shrink the videos, because I've recorded this, so you can view this as a full-length video on my YouTube. When you shrink it down into a portrait view for TikTok, which I was doing, it lowers the resolution and it makes it look kind of crummy. And that's why when I'm downloading these, I'm back over again to consolidate them down in LumaFusion to make long-form content. Then it didn't fit on the shelf. Then it just makes it look really crappy. I have these little knickknacks on my shelves all over the place, and when I put them up there, I'm thinking that there's projects that I'm gonna make in my head for each one, and I just have to get to them. Talk about a fun project, you guys. Now, this is one of the very first times that I had ever used air dry clay. Now, this is Sculpey. This is Sculpey air dry clay at this time. I bought a pack of it, and I had actually sculpted armor to go over a Saint Seiya cup. It's an anime, and I've never really watched the entire series. I can just never get into it. But I know anybody out there who's watched that you can leave it in the comments below. Like, I've watched it, yeah, man. Anyways, I did a full 2-sheet water slide across a 30-ounce skinny tumbler, and then I actually hand sculpted armor to go over the existing animation armor. And then I hand detail painted it all. It turned out cool. It was baller. It was really nice, but I could have done better. and we always have room for improvement, right? But I also wanted to make it like the image that was being downloaded. So I try to mirror that in a way, and I didn't really take my artistic freedoms on it. I was limited by what the image showed. This is me hand painting that little sea turtle on the ocean reef tumbler. Again, full-length content you can find on my YouTube channel. It's just me like using a little micro brush to paint in all of the details around the shell, and I'm just trying to be very, very detail oriented when I do paint things like this, because it is so far in the background and it's so small. I just want it to look really good when you zoom all the way out and you're looking at it from a far distance. But I do try to put as much detail into it as I can for being as small as it is. It just turned out really great, and I was just really happy with how it turned out. If I recall correctly, I only put one sea turtle on it, I think. But there are 2 dolphins on it. I think there's 2 dolphins. Was it a family of dolphins? I can't remember. Let me check, make sure I'm recording. Yeah, we're still good. Still recording. See, this is a bit of a longer video here. Let's paint a sea turtle at Byerly Studios. And it has, I put a question on it. What holds you back as an artist? So I know that they have those questions that you can add to videos, and then people can answer them with their own videos and like duets and things like that. And it's just a way for like TikTok to flood the market and stuff with videos and continually like collaborate with other artists and stuff. But that's the question I asked. So that's interesting. Let's ask you guys, if you're at the end of this video and you are an artist, or you like to arts and crafts or make things, whether you have a studio or not, even if it's just your kitchen counter, what holds you back as an artist? Maybe if some people answer, then I can create some videos specifically on some of the issues that hold you back. Maybe I can create something that would inspire you to create something. Maybe I can make a tutorial for you, something that's fun to create to inspire you to want to make something that I've created that you can follow along with. Let me know in the comment below. What holds you back as an artist? What holds you back as a crafter? If you're talking about fabrics, don't talk. I'm not into fabrics right now. I would like to get into costume design, but not fabrics. But if it's like painting or sculpting or epoxy work or resins or mask making or color pencils or charcoal or something like that, and the list just keeps going on and on. It was really great. Check out that full-length video, man, and definitely answer it. What holds you back as an artist? That's kind of cool. I'll kind of like leave that as a questionnaire at the end of this video. That is almost the end of the 2022 segment here. Now we do have one more segment to get through before we roll into 2023, and then as we progress into 2024, you'll start to see a little bit less content rolling out in this series, because I'm focusing more on full-length content here on YouTube for you guys. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, and check out some of the other videos. I'll link those on the video playlist here, and check out my homepage and see some of the other awesome content that I have. Again, a lot of these you can find on full-length content videos on my YouTube channel. Not all of them, but some of them. And if you do commission a piece of artwork and you want it to be covered here on YouTube, just let me know, and we'll make that happen. Possibly. We'll see. I will catch you guys on the next awesome video. Later.